We're going to convert these numbers from scientific notation on the left to standard notation on the right. Okay, it's also known as decimal notation. You might see that, but that can be a little confusing because, of course, there are sometimes decimals in the scientific notation. So let's look at this one on the top, 2.48 times 10 to the power of negative 6. We're going to take our 2.48, and now we have to move this decimal 6 places. 2.48. Now, this is a really small number because it's 10 to the negative 6. All right, it's the same as 1 over 10 to the 6. That's really small. And that means we need to move our decimal to the left. Okay, let me write that up here. All right, we're going to move it to the left 6 places. Get a different color. How about pink? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our decimal is going to need to go right here. And now in every one of these spaces, right, these are places, we need to put zeros. So 0.0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 248. That is a really small number. All right, so here it is. 0.12345, 5 zeros, 248. Okay, now why do I put the 0 in the front right here? Well, if I didn't have that, it's sometimes hard to tell, is that a decimal? Is that just a stray mark on my computer screen? So I always put a 0 to the left of the decimal. All right, next up, 1.133 times 10 to the 7th power. Since this is a positive exponent, we are going to move the decimal to the right. So I'm going to take my 1.133 and I'm going to move my decimal to the right 7 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And in every one of these spaces, I'm going to put a 0. Okay, now my decimal would be here, but we don't have to write a decimal if it's a large number like this. If there's nothing to the right of the decimal, we don't necessarily have to write it if it's not significant digits. So here we go, 1133000004 zeros after 1133. All right, 11,330,000. Okay. Next, let's look at this number. 3 times 10 to the 3rd. Now this one doesn't have a decimal showing, so we know that if we did put a decimal, it would be right here. Okay, and since this is a positive exponent, this is going to move to the right. So that's where my decimal would be, and I'm going to move it 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. These are places that I'm going to put in a 0, 0, 0, 0. So this is a number that might be more familiar to us, 3,000. All right, and then the last one, if you look at the last one, it has a negative out in front, and that is not going to change how we do anything. That negative is just going to stick around. Okay, so -7 would have a decimal right here. We are going to move that decimal 5 places to the right. And here's -7. Let's move that decimal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, leaving 5 places for zeros. Fill in the zeros. And now we have -700,000. -700,000. Okay, and notice that this negative right here, it's the same negative as this one right here. That's the same negative as this right here. Nothing happened to that. There we go.